Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today. For this one, we are going to return and do something that I always enjoy when I'm here in Japan, and this is going to be my New Year's Day review. So as I always do with these kind of special day reviews, I just want to wish you guys, the viewers, a very happy 2019, and I hope you guys are enjoying your celebrations somewhere with family and friends. It's always a special time of year, this. But for this one, as is tradition in Japan, you've just seen a very nice beer review for the Hogmanay review. For the New Year's Day review, I thought we would return and do a nice sake review. So for this one, we're going to return to Hiroshima, which was actually the same prefecture that I did my first sake review from, and this time we are going to go to Kubota Shuzo, and we're having a taste of their Nigori Sake. So Nigori, of course, in Japanese means unfiltered. And as you can see, this sake is pretty unfiltered. It almost looks like a milkshake or something like this. But it comes in somewhere between 15 and 16%. As is the case with these sakes, it's quite difficult actually for the brewers, I think, to tell exactly what percentage of alcohol it is. But they can always estimate pretty closely to between 15 and 16%. But yeah, this is one that I'm really looking forward to. The Nigori Sake is a style that I really quite enjoy. And you know, it's cool to return to a prefecture that I think is very beautiful. The city of Hiroshima actually has been done up very nicely. When you think about the horrible thing that happened there, today it is actually a very nice city, and the prefecture itself, the countryside out there, is very beautiful as well. So I do recommend that you go and visit Hiroshima city itself and see the Peace Memorial and things like that. But also if you go out to Miyakojima, the little island across the bay, it's also very nice too. So yeah, make sure you go and visit Hiroshima if you find yourself over here in Japan, and of course you can try some of these lovely sakes from Kubota Shuzo, and they've got quite a different range there. I'll put their website and stuff in the description for you below. But yeah, really looking forward to this one, and I hope you guys enjoy my first sake review in quite a long time actually. I always enjoy reviewing Nihonshu and tasting different Nihonshus when I'm over here in Japan. So yeah, let's see how we get on with this one. So yeah, as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my future reviews that hopefully I can do from Kubota Shuzo. Very first time I'm trying one of their sakes, of course. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beers, sakes, whiskies based on country, prefecture, city, state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of things from different countries. I do have a playlist there for all my different sake reviews that I've done for you. I do understand that there's some sake breweries out in America, so I need to see if I can get a hold of some of those bottles and review them for you. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some other sakes and things like that you guys would like to see me review. I do have a couple that I'm going to film while I'm here in Japan, and you'll see them spaced out over the next year, of course. I would absolutely love it if I could get to a situation where I could release one whiskey review and one sake review a month, along with the rest of the beer reviews that I do. So we'll see how we get on with that project over 2019. But yeah, this is my first sake review in about 18 months. But anyway, to tell you a little bit about Kubota Shuzo then. So on to my kind of brewery notes. So this sake brewery is based in Yabe in Asakitaku, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Asakitaku, in Hiroshima Prefecture, which is to the north of the city of Hiroshima itself. And the brewery is located at the point where the Oita and the Tani rivers meet. So this is Oitigawa in Japanese, and also Tanigawa as well. And this is next to the Chugoku Mountains, literally the Chinese mountains if you translate it. But the company started brewing sake back in 1868, and it remains family run to this day. The current CEO of the company is Fumiya Kubota, and their brewing methods have stayed largely unchanged since the company's inception. But they've got their own special source of water, which comes from special wells. They've got specially engineered wells to give them a certain type of water, and they're also noted as well for using a very low temperature fermentation in their brewing as well. And yeah, these breweries, these sake breweries that you get here in Japan, a lot of them are very similar to the little beer breweries that you get over in Germany and Belgium and stuff like this, of course. They do tend to remain family run, which I think is very cool. But as I say, these guys located in a very nice place next at the kind of joining of two rivers, the Oita and the Tani rivers. and right next to the Chinese mountains as well, which I think is very, very cool. So they do have a very, very good water source up there. And of course, when it comes to choosing where your sake brewery is going to be, it depends all on how good the soil is for growing the rice, or what kind of rice you can get fairly locally. And it also depends very much on your water source as well. You know, the sake is a very, very interesting kind of beast to actually brew itself. So yeah, very, very interesting one. There's not too much information available on these different sake breweries, of course, but whenever you get the chance to review something like this, it's always very, very interesting. But yeah, that's all you really need to know, or that was all I could find actually on Kubota Shuzo. They're from Hiroshima, from the countryside, up in the mountains next to two kind of special rivers. But as I said to you at the start of the video, this one is a Nigori Sake. It comes in somewhere between 15 and 16%, and Nigori means unfiltered, as you can probably see from the colour of this one. It pretty much looks like a milkshake or something like that. But yeah, the way you're supposed to rate sake when you actually taste it then, because as I've told you in other videos, I'm still pretty new to this. I absolutely love it and I've got a good palate, but you need to kind of refine things a little bit more when it comes to sake tasting. So what you should rate sake on then, according to the expert magazines that I've read, you should rate it on floral character, on fruitiness, earthiness as well, sweetness, dryness, acidity, impact, and also tail. So I've got a little document in front of me here that I fill in after I taste this, and you know, I'm just going to kind of say what I think about this as I go through it. But yeah, this one should be really interesting. As you can see with the artwork on this one, you know, very, very traditional Japanese. You can see in the hiragana here, so it says Nigori, and then this is like sake, Nigori Sake, Nigori Nihonshu basically. But yeah, between 15 and 16%, it tells you that in the kanji here. I'm not very good at kanji, of course. I can do the hiragana and the katakana and some different kanjis, but this, you know, the kanji pretty much is alien to me. But yeah, very nicely presented sake, this one, you know, very traditional looking, and I'm certainly looking forward to this. So yeah, without further ado then, let's get it out and we'll get on with the tasting. I should let you have a little look at the bottle cap on this as well, because I know sake, of course, is quite popular in Singapore and things like this, and so those of you who are well versed in kanji, and indeed some of the characters between Japanese and Chinese are actually quite similar. So some of you that are more fluent in Chinese too will be quite well versed in this as well. I really need to get a little bit better at reviewing this. But this one is a 900ml bottle, and yeah, this is definitely bigger than quite a few of the sake bottles that you're going to get, and this cost pretty much not a lot. I actually bought 6 bottles of sake for somewhere around 7,000 yen, which is pretty much nothing. You know, 1,000 yen is somewhere along the lines of 8-9 euros. So this is how cheap it is. You can get these absolutely beautiful alcohols in Japan for next to nothing, to be honest. So yeah, without further ado, let's get this guy out and we will get on with the tasting then. The Nigori Sake from Kubota Shuzo in Hiroshima in Japan. I think this one is going to be absolutely beautiful. So yeah, let's get it out and we'll have a little taste of this one then. Look at that on the pour. It pretty much is just like milk actually. It looks absolutely lovely. I'm not sure how many milliliters I can actually take in this glass. I'll pull that off just now. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly how many milliliters I can take in this glass, but pretty much, as you could see from the bottle of this one, it's pretty much, you know, a milk white. It's very much along the same lines as a milkshake or something like this, and you can see the little bits of rice. Pardon me. Happens sometimes when you're doing these reviews. You can see the little bits of rice just kind of sticking up towards the side of the glass there. But yeah, lovely looking Nigori Sake, this one. So let's take a look at the aroma and just see what we get with these ones. And you should bear in mind, if you're watching this from the craft beer perspective, I review mainly craft beers, of course, but the sort of flavour scope and the aroma scope that you get on sakes is quite a bit narrower, I guess, than craft beers, because there's not that many, there's not also many different styles of Nihonshu and things like this. But yeah, on the nose with this one to me comes across as quite sweet. And to be honest, most of the Nigori Sakes are going to come across as quite sweet to you. Yeah, so it's got a nice, slightly citrusy note to it. I think there's a little touch of a grassiness in there as well. just a little bit. But yeah, these sakes, to be honest, it is kind of a, compared to other types of alcohol, it is quite a sweet alcohol, to be honest with you. The sake that you get, the nose on these rice sakes are always very, very sweet, and for me, this one comes across, it's almost a little bit milky, to be honest with you. But yeah, there's a little bit of a fruity sweetness to this one. It's almost a little bit like an apricot-y, or I don't think it's quite pineapple, but I think it's a little bit of an almost apricot-y note to this one. There is a little bit of a kind of grassy note to it, as I was saying. But overall, the ricey character in this one is quite sweet, and it's almost, to me, drinking this as a gaijin right enough, to me it comes across as as one of the more sweeter sakes. You can get them where they can be quite floral, you can get them where they can be quite citrusy and fruity, or you can also get them where they're quite sweet as well. Those are the three kind of main things with the sake as well, and they can also be a little bit tart sometimes. They can have a little bit of acidity to them as well, like I was saying. But yeah, the aroma for me with this one is definitely quite sweet rather than anything else. So as I always say, take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the sake before you get into it. It's always half the experience when it comes to whiskies and sakes and craft beers and stuff like this. But let's have a go at this one then. So this one is the Nigori Sake from Kubota Shuzo in Hiroshima Prefecture here in Japan. As I always say, Happy New Year. I hope you guys have a very happy and prosperous 2019. Let's get stuck into this one. I think this is going to be awesome. Slanje Skull Kampai. Oh yeah. So I'm just recovering. I've been sneezing, but when I sneeze I always get this. But yeah, this one, it does, if we talk about impact with this sake, this one does have quite a little bit of impact to it. Yeah, it comes in, I think there's a little bit of acidity to this one because it comes in and it is actually a little bit sharp. As it comes in, you can pick up a little bit. It's just got a little bit of a slightly acidic sharpness to it when it brings in. But then it smooths out and it becomes very, very sweet actually. The Nigori Sakes are always going to be a little bit sweeter. And of course the main styles you've got Honjozo, you've got Honjozo, which has a little bit of distilled alcohol, the Junmai, which is the pure rice, the Ginjo, where the rice is like 60% of it's milled down to 60% of the original size, the Dai Ginjo, which is milled down to the 50% of the original size. This one doesn't actually say on the bottle apparently what kind of sake it is in that regard. It just says Nigori. Nigori is unfiltered, as I told you. But this one, to me, usually the Dai Ginjo is a little bit sweeter. The Ginjo maybe is a little bit the Ginjo is a little bit fuller in the mouthfeel, if you like, but it can also be a little bit more boozy and things like that, and the Honjozo is a little bit drier normally. But for me, this one has a little bit of impact. It does have a little bit of an acidity to it when you bring it in. You can feel a little bit of that. It's not quite tart in the same way that like sour beers and things can be, but it does just have a little bit of that kind of bite to it when you take it in. Yeah. But it smooths out very nicely and it becomes very, very sweet. It does have a little bit of a fruitiness to it. It's almost like a kind of, I don't know if it's pineapple-y or apricot-y or something like that. It definitely has just this nice slight little bit of juicy fruity quality to it, which is very nice. This one to me doesn't have very much earthy character at all. This one is just, it is more of a sweet sake. The tail of it, I think, becomes, there's a little bit of maybe floral quality on the tail of this one. I think it becomes a little bit floral on the back end right enough. Yeah. So as I say, when it comes in, a little bit of acidity, then it becomes quite sweet. You've got that nice, stereotypical ricey sweetness to this one. It comes across the middle of the palate and it becomes very, very sweet. The middle of your palate becomes very, very sweet in this one. Towards the front of the palate, you get a little bit more of the fruity notes. As I say, It's not quite apricot, it's almost a little bit, it's got a little tiny touch of a kind of tropical fruit note to it. It's almost a little bit like a kind of pineapple-y character or something like this, but it's also got a little bit of a kind of more citrusy note to it as well. It does have a little bit of a sort of grassy floral thing too. The further into the taste you go, it becomes a little bit more grassy and floral, I would say. But yeah, there's maybe a little touch of earthiness to this one. The further into it you go, like maybe you've seen how long it was since I took a sip of this. It maybe has a little bit of earthiness just now. But in the tail, the earthiness I think comes out a little bit more. You've got a little bit of a grassy floral character to it as well, and it's got a little touch of it definitely has a little touch of a nice kind of floral aromatic note to it. This is a very well balanced sake, I think, but I mean most of them are. This one, as I said, the flavour scope compared to craft beer and things, I find the flavour scope of the sakes to be very narrow, and it's a really different ball game, if you like, when you're reviewing sakes and whiskies and things like this compared to the craft beers, because the flavour scope is just that little bit more narrow, and it's all about the subtleties and things, and that's why I really like reviewing these, because you do have to, you know, it really is about all these little subtle qualities that it has. So for me, I think a good way to sum up the flavour profile of this one is it does have a little bit of acidity in the beginning, it smooths out and it becomes a little bit sweeter. There is an element of fruitiness into this one, and when you go further into the aftertaste, there's maybe just a little touch of an earthiness to it, but I think it's a little bit more floral and grassy. It's really nice, this one, and the Nigoris, from what I remember, do tend to be a little bit sweeter than the other styles of sake. The Daiginjos I think can be quite sweet as well, but you know, to me the Nigoris are just very, very nice. I really like the unfiltered ones, and for some reason the unfiltered ones seem to be a little bit cheaper. I think it's you know, Michiko was telling me that the unfiltered ones, that maybe I've got a cheap tongue because I enjoy the unfiltered ones, and these are a little bit cheaper. I think it's just, you know, I don't know why they filter the stuff out of them. It's a bit different when it comes to sake compared to craft beer, because this isn't viewed, I think, as being as good as the likes of the Daiginjos. The Daiginjos tend to be the expensive ones where it's milled down to 50% and it's very, very clear, but I think these Daiginjo sakes are very, very nice too. But yeah, I think that summary's nice. A little bit of impact, a little bit of acidity in the beginning, smooths out, becomes very sweet. You start to get a little bit of fruitiness from it, and then when you go into the aftertaste, there's maybe a tiny little bit of earthiness there, and it becomes a little bit floral and grassy and things like that on the tail end. The impact is quite nice. It's a little bit kind of acidic, and then it just smooths out very nicely. There is a little bit around the edge of the palate now. I'm getting a little bit of a grassy kind of floral thing from this, but overall it's very, very nice. But I like most of these sakes, and it's something, as I say, I really enjoy doing, and I want to get a little bit more versed in. The whole thing of doing these videos is a little bit of a kind of learning experience on my part. But yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel of this one, this one for me is one of the more full-bodied sakes that I've had. It's a little bit, it's got a very oily mouthfeel to it, this one, and again, this is something that you can get with the Nigori Sakes. These guys tend to be a little bit more full-bodied compared to the Daiginjos. It's quite a sweet mouthfeel, I would say that. It's sweet and oily more than anything else. If you compare this to the other styles, the Honjozos tend to be a little bit drier. The Ginjos tend to be a little bit oily, and the Daiginjos tend to be quite light and a little bit sweeter and things like this. So for me, this is one of the more kind of full-bodied and sweeter sakes that you're going to come across. But overall, very, very nice, and I've really enjoyed reviewing this one. It's really cool to review a sake for you after something like 18 months. So yeah, let's just leave it at that for this one. So this one was the Kabuto, if I'm pronouncing that correct, the Kubota Shuzo from Hiroshima Prefecture in Japan, the Nigori Sake. This is very, very nice. A little bit of everything, to be honest. I think this is one that's got a kind of wide diversity of flavours in it, so I think you guys would enjoy this if you try it for yourself. So yeah, it's been really cool to return to sake reviewing. And as I say, I hope over the next kind of the next year or so, I can review at least one of these for you a month. I'll see how many I get filmed in Japan, and I might kind of publish them once a month. But a happy new year to you guys. As I say, I hope you guys have a very, very nice 2019, and I hope you guys have kind of enjoyed this return to sake reviews for the first review of the year. You will see some nice beer reviews next. I've got a very nice review for you tomorrow, and I hope you guys enjoy that, and you will see some interesting things over this year. But thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon. This one was the Nigori Sake, between 15 and 16%, from Kubota Shuzo in Hiroshima Prefecture in Japan. Until the next time, it's Landed just now, and I'll catch you guys later. Kanpai.